Wanderer versus the Faceless Jackal brothers. Peace versus violence. Pacifism versus genocide. Two ideologies that have been feuding before we were born and will be fighting long after we're dead. But today, I break down one of those battles. After the defeat of Madman and avenging his wife, Wanderer is now looking for inner peace. He visits his wife's grave and reflects on his past conflicts, only to be interrupted by the Faceless Jackal brothers. They tell Wanderer that they've come to challenge the duelist who defeated Madman, but Wanderer doesn't pay any attention to them, either due to meditation or just not giving a crud. They assault Wanderer and plan to steal his deck, but Wanderer outsmarts them and gets his cards back. He then challenges them to a 2-on-1 duel, and they agree. Now this 2-on-1 duel does have special rules, which I will break down now. The Jackal brothers shall share 4,000 life points, and Wanderer has his own 4,000 life points. The turn order will proceed as follows. First Wanderer goes, then... Oh wait, the Jackal brothers don't have individual names. Well, I gotta call them something. Light and Dark? No, I used Dark in a previous analysis. Blanca and Negra. No, I'm not using that one. Tragedy and Comedy? It'll do. Anyway, the turn order is... First Wanderer, then Tragedy, then Wanderer again, then Comedy, then the cycle restarts itself. Oh, and there's one more thing. Wanderer's self-imposed rule. He is not allowed to declare an attack during this entire duel. It's never officially stated, but it's clearly portrayed by the duel itself. It doesn't destroy the duel or anything like that, it just means that some misplays by not attacking are explained at the very least. So, we can still classify them as misplays, but they are given a reason, so we can also let them slide at the same time. So with all this set up and out of the way, let's quit our stalling and get... not brawling. Just go! The duel begins and Wanderer goes first. He draws in his opening hand consists of Destiny Board, Mystical Ref Panel, Emergency Provisions, Dragon Seeker, the Fiend Mega Cyber, and Card of Safe Return. He sets Destiny Board and Ref Panel face down and ends his turn. It's Tragedy's turn. He draws in his opening hand consists of Force Raider, Pot of Greed, One Day of Peace, Stop Defense, and 2 mysterious cards. I have no idea what they are, so here's 2 random bricks to speculate. During the standby phase, Wanderer activates Destiny Board. Now during every opponent's end phase, he can activate a spirit message from his deck. And if he activates all of them, he automatically wins the duel. Tragedy says that they'll just win before that can happen, and enters his main phase 1. He activates Pot of Greed, but Wanderer changes this trap Mystical Ref Panel. Because Pot of Greed targets a player, Wanderer can change which player it targets, and he targets himself. Or in Layman's turn...
Now your Pot of Greed will activate for me instead of you!
Wanderer draws Shadow Spell and Mirror Wall. Tragedy's annoyed but moves on. He normal summons Force Raider in attack mode. He attacks directly, dealing 1900 points of damage to Wanderer. Tragedy ends his turn, and because he did, Spirit Message E activates from the deck. Now it's Wanderer's turn. He draws and gets Waboku. He sets it face down immediately. Could have set the Shadow Spell, but Waboku by itself is enough, so we'll let it slide. Besides, you don't want to continue his trap card clogging up back row when you've got Destiny Board on the field. That thing needs all the space it can get. It's Comedy's turn. He draws and his opening hand consists of X-Head Cannon, Y Dragon Head, Z Metal Tank, Mystical Space Typhoon, Mythical Beast of Jackal, and Cyberstein. He normal summons X-Head Cannon, then enters his battle phase, ordering it to attack directly. Wanderer responds to the trap card Waboku. Now the battle damage is reduced to 0. Comedy sets Mystical Space Typhoon face down and ends his turn, so Spirit Message A appears. Misplayed a Comedy for not activating Mystical Space Typhoon. Now it is explained later that he saved it to see what Wanderer's strategy was, and wanted to save MST for when it's absolutely necessary, but here's the thing. Destiny Board is an instant win condition. Literally no one on Earth would blame you for wanting to shotgun MST run an instant win condition. That's just would be a, freebie. And if he had done this, that would either win the duel or force Wanderer into a position where he needs to attack. But that's the misplay for you. Let's go back to the duel. It's Wanderer's turn. He draws and gets Neko Mane King. He sets a continuous trap card Shadow Spell face down the field to clog up back row while he's got Destiny Board on the field, and ends his turn. It's Tragedy's turn. He draws and gets Dust Tornado. He sets it face down and orders Force Raider to attack directly. Wanderer activates his set Shadow Spell. Now Raider can't attack and loses 700 attack points. Main phase 2, Tragedy activates 1 day apiece, so each player draws 1 card, but no player can take damage until the end of Wanderer's turn. Tragedy gets Melked the 4-faced beast.
Comedy gets Skill Drain.
And Wanderer gets Spell of Pain. Tragedy could summon Melked and special summon Descartes now, but I imagine he's saving it for an onslaught later. Tragedy ends his turn, so Spirit Message T appears. They only have 1 turn left. Or do they? Because, see, Wanderer needs an open spell and trap zone in order to resolve Destiny Board. Problem is that his back row is now full, and Shadow Spell only leaves the field if it's destroyed, banished, or the equipped monster is removed from the field. So the Faceless Jackal brothers should be protecting Vorse Rare at all costs, keep that Shadow Spell in the field as long as possible so they don't get Destiny boarded. Because if they let that Shadow Spell go, then Wanderer could instantly win the duel. And speaking of the duel, it's Wanderer's turn. He draws and gets Marshmallow. He sets this monster in face-down defense position. Tragedy then activates to set Dust Tornado, which is basically Trap MST. Out of 5 possible options, Tragedy picks the only wrong choice and destroys Shadow Spell. So Vorse Raider is freed. Wanderer asks what we're all thinking. Why not destroy Destiny Board? And Tragedy answers. He needs his monster to be able to attack, and he trusts that his brother can take care of the board. And while he's technically not wrong with that assumption, I do want to see the alternate timeline where he is wrong, Comedy gets nothing, and they all just get Destiny boarded. GG. With the new free spell and trap zone, Wanderer sets emergency provisions face down and ends his turn. The obvious misplay here is not destroying Destiny board, or at least one of the spirit messages, because destroying a spirit message also prevents Destiny board from resolving, because if he had destroyed, say, A, for example,
then the entire Destiny board would have gone to the graveyard with it, because if any spirit messages are destroyed, they all go bye-bye.
So Tragedy, you had an 80% chance of being smart, but you chose to be an idiot.
By the way, this last thing is more of a fun fact. Tragedy claims that he freed his monster so that it's able to attack. He never attacked the monster again for the remainder of the duel, so that excuse was just bogus.
It's Comedy's turn. He draws and gets Chaos Emperor Dragon, Envoy of the End. Comedy immediately activates to set Mystical Space Typhoon and targets Destiny board, but that's just what Wanderer was hoping for. He activates Quickly spell card Emergency Provisions. Now he can send other spells and traps he controls to the graveyard, and gain 1,000 life points for each card sent. He sends Destiny board and all 3 spirit messages, and thus gains 4,000 life points. Comedy summons Y Dragonhead in face-up defense position, then orders X to attack Wanderer's monster. However, that monster is revealed to be Marshmallow, whom cannot be destroyed by battle, and when it's flipped face up, the opponent loses 1,000 life points. Comedy curses and sets Skill Drain face down before ending his turn. It's Wanderer's turn. He draws and gets Call of the Haunted. He sets Call and Mirror Ball face down and ends his turn. It's Tragedy's turn now. He draws and gets Trap Jammer. He summons Melked, the 4-faced beast. Then he tributes Melked and Vorse Rare
For the masked beast death. Ah, yes!
Now he activates Stop Defense, forcing Marshmallow into attack mode. Wanderer says it doesn't matter because Marshmallow can't die by battle due to its effect. But Comedy activates to set Skill Drain. By paying 1,000 life points, all monsters on the field lose their effects. Descartes attacks Marshmallow, and Wanderer reveals to set Mirror Wall, so Guardius' attack points are halved. Marshmallow is destroyed, and Wanderer loses 1,350 life points. But Wanderer immediately activates Call of the Haunted, reviving Marshmallow right now. Tragedy gets pissed at Wanderer for immediately nullifying his kill. He sets Trap Jammer face down, and ends his turn. It's Wanderer's turn. He draws and gets Mirror Force. He elects not to pay the 2,000 life points for Mirror Wall, so it goes to the graveyard, and thus Descartes gains all of its attack points back. He then sets Mirror Wall and Spell Pain face down, then sets Necomani King in face down defense mode. Finally, he switches Marshmallow to defensive mode 2 and ends his turn. It's Comedy's turn, and the penultimate turn of the duel. He draws and gets Graceful Charity. Then he summons Z Metal Tank in face-up defense position. Then he banishes X, Y, and Z, making X, Y, Z Mega Dragon Cannon! Now he activates Graceful Charity to draw 3 cards, which are Remove Trap and 2 unknown cards.
Again, here's 2 more random bricks.
At the cost of discarding 2, which are Mystical Knight of Jackal and Cyberstein. Now he banishes both those monsters to special summon the Chaos Emperor Dragon. Battle phase, Comedy orders XYZ to attack Marshmallow. Wanderer activates Mirror Force in response, but Tragedy responds to that by activating the counter Trap Jammer. So Mirror Force is negated and destroyed, and the attack continues with Marshmallow being destroyed. Then he does something both insane and pointless. He enters his main phase 2, and then activates Remove Trap on Skill Drain. And since effects are active again, he uses XYZ's effect, discarding a mysterious card to destroy Wanderer's set monster. Unfortunately for the Jackal brothers, though, that monster is revealed to be Necomane King, and if it's destroyed by a card effect, the turn immediately ends, so Comedy's turn is over. The reason this is insane is because Chaos Emperor could have just attacked Necomane King, and Mana King would have just been destroyed without needing to discard a card or lose the rest of your turn. I don't even know what his plan was. Wipe out Wanderer's Field, then use Emperor's effect to do burn damage? He could have just attacked with Emperor, then use XYZ in the main phase 2 to get rid of the last face down card, then use Emperor if you want to be absolutely 100% safe. And the reason I call it pointless is because Comedy's turn was basically over. Maybe the last card in his hand was like Torrential Tribute or something. I don't really know what that one last card could be, but I don't really know what move they had left. Now, could they have won the duel if Comedy just attacked? No, but they would have gotten money, and that's a fact. Back to the action. Comedy says he'll never overpower their monsters, but Wanderer says he won't have to win on this turn. It's Wanderer's turn, and the final turn of the duel. He draws and gets Graceful Charity. He activates it and draws Pot of Greed, Granadora, and Time Wizard. Then he discards Granadora and Time Wizard. Next, he activates Pot of Greed, drawing Brain Control and Enemy Controller. Next, because Jackal Brothers have 2 or more monsters in the field than he does, he can special summon the Fiend Mega Cyber from his hand. Then he tributes Mega Cyber to tribute summon Dragon Seeker. And when Dragon Seeker is summoned, it destroys one dragon monster in the field, so the Emperor is dethroned. Tragedy says that they still control stronger monsters, only for Wanderer to decide that they're our monsters, comrade. He activates the pre-errata Brain Control. Pay 800 life points to take control of XYZ until the end of the turn. Next, he activates Enemy Controller for its second effect, sacrificing Dragon Seeker to take control of Descardius for the rest of the turn. Now Wanderer just needs to attack with one monster to win the duel. But that would ruin his pacifist run. He'd rather just have an extra card in his hand. I'll break it down in the conclusion. He activates a continuous spell card of safe return. Now whenever a monster is revived from Wanderer's graveyard, he can draw one extra card from his deck. Now he activates Premature Burial, paying another 800 life points to revive a monster from the graveyard. He revives Granadora, and when Granadora is summoned, Wanderer gains 1000 life points. Safe return goes off and Wanderer draws Monster Reborn. He activates it to revive Time Wizard. Save return goes off again and he gets Red Medicine. He then activates the Red Medicine magic card, giving himself an extra 500 life points. And now, despite the brothers having an empty field, Wanderer activates Time Wizard's effect, giving him a 50-50 chance of destroying his own field or his opponent's. But if it fails, he'll lose 4,250 life points. But Lady Luck is not on Wanderer's side today, because he fails the time roulette. Tragedy laughs. He calls Wanderer a fool. He must have forgotten that if Granadora goes to the graveyard, Wanderer will take 2,000 points of effect damage, meaning Wanderer will actually take 6,250 points of damage. The effect resolves and a massive explosion occurs. But when the dust settles, Wanderer stands with 400 life points remaining. Comedy says that that's impossible. Where did the other 2,000 points of damage go? And Wanderer explains that the second Granadora's burn effect activated, he changed the face down card. The Quick Play Spell of Pain. So the 2,000 points of effect damage are inflicted on the Jackal brothers instead.
So no matter what the outcome of the time roulette,
We would have lost!
it is your fate!
Wanderer wins the duel and proves that the pacifist route is always better than the genocide route. So could the Jackal brothers have defeated Wanderer? Well, technically yes, because like I said on that final turn, Wanderer had an extra card in his hand. Those of you who are paying attention may have noticed that I never said he drew Premature Burial. I didn't want to address it at the time because that would ruin the pacing. But given my experience with Carlos versus Devon, I want to at least break down the hands at some point in this, so let's break it down right now. He starts with 6 cards in his hand. -2 for setting his 2 trap cards, but +2 when he steals Pot of Greed. Then +1 for drawing, -1 for setting Wabaku, +1 for draw, -1 for setting Shadow Spell, +1 for 1 day of peace, +1 for drawing, -2 for setting Marshmallow and Emergency Provisions, +1 for drawing, -2 when he sets Call of the Haunted and Mirror Wall, +1 for drawing, -3 for setting Mirror Force Spell, Pain, and Necomane King, +1 for drawing. Graceful Cherry is a card neutral, so we won't count it. -1 for activating Pot of Greed, but +2 upon its resolution. -1 to special summon the Fiend Mega Cyber, -1 for summoning Dragon Seeker, -1 to activate Brain Control, -1 to activate Enemy Controller, and -1 to activate Card Save Return. So he has no cards in his hand, and yet activates Premature Burial. And what sucks is that Subway could have just scripted the activate Carve Safe Return the turn before he activated Call of the Haunted. And this whole thing wouldn't be an issue because Carve Safe Return would have just replaced itself. Granted, my hand breakdown could be wrong, but I'm just saying, you're the writer. You're basically god of the scripts. But yeah, without the extra card in his hand, Wander would be forced to just attack for game, which again would break his code. Aside from the hand thing though, I think if they just played a little smarter, like instead of using Dust Tornado on Shadow Spell, use it on Destiny Board! Wander has no room to chain emergency provisions and is denied the 4,000 life points. If you deny him life points, his time roulette gamble will ultimately fail. Now granted, Wanderer could just, again, attack with the monsters like he's been charging up this entire time and now is unleashing his full power, but again, that would break his unwritten rule. And even in the event Kami does use Emperor's effect, he'll send all cards on the field and in every duelist's hand in the graveyard and slam Wanderer for 300 points of damage for every single card. Also, I did the math. If they did use Emperor's effect, Comedy would pay 1,000 life points to nuke everything, and the max damage they would do is 3,600. So Wander would still have 1,150 life points left. They'd have nothing left, so they pass. Wander is up, gets Graceful Charity, keeps Granadora, summons it, and attacks for game. But Emperor, Dust Tornado, or keeping Vorse Raider alive are their best chances of winning. And yeah, Wander had some misplays like not setting extra cards or summoning monsters, but to be fair, this is a world where both Feather Duster and Heavy Storm are legal. So I can understand him not wanting to set 5 pass, especially when Destiny Board requires room. Gotta be a bit more careful about what can be set and what can't be set. Really, the fact that he set a continuous trap while he had Destiny Board on the field should have given him a clue that he was up to something. Because at that point, he's either an idiot or he's scheming something, and Madman wouldn't have lost to some random idiot. The Jackal brothers are decent duelists, but might doesn't always equal right, and in this duel, they were constantly wrong. But what do you all think? Let me know in the comments below, and be sure to check out StylePoint's channel with his series Yu-Gi-Oh! Devolution, link in the description. With all that said, thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed, and later gators.